You know that this is some kind of a Bolshevik revolution when these people seem to be invading churches for looking for pro-ICE or ICE officers or something like that. This is crazy enough, but take a look at this. Breaking: William Kelly and a mob of anti-ICE extremists storm a city's church in Minneapolis. You know that everything that has been in Minneapolis and Minnesota has been crazy for weeks. This has been insane. I mean, what is happening with that state? What is happening with that city in this case? Disrupting a worship service and hurling baseless accusations that one of the church lead pastors is an ICE agent. I mean, this is way too insane for words. And they're justifying this, that they are doing this, I don't know for what reason. Let's play this. Are they, in the middle of mass? And they're just going in because that's how they feel. Yo, what is this?
Renee Good! Renee Good!
Renee Good. But it's that this is something for the cameras. This is something for the agitation. These people are looking for a confrontation. The problem that I see is that confrontation is coming really fast, really soon. There, I'm gonna fast forward to an image that I wanted to show you here. Is that political violence, armed civilian waiting to confront ICE agents. We also have this: armed civilians waiting to confront ICE agents. These people are literally insane, because I can understand. Okay, I can understand. Maybe you are a bit short, and being able to pay your bills and reach the end of the month, and you want to receive a little payment for a protest, I don't know, pro-Palestine or pro or anti-ICE, and you go to a protest, you wave a flag, and that's it, and you receive your check. I can understand that. Okay, the grift. Okay, the grift, I can understand that. But when you tell me that you are armed, waiting for ICE, you can't tell me that this is not a full-blown civil war at this point. Would he be justified shooting federal law enforcement? I don't think so. He's waiting to find out. These are people who are eager to find out. I can play this video, and this guy is, playing, Rambo First Blood. Although I thought that this is like Fifth Blood, and he ate all the other Rambos. All the other Rambos should be inside that guy. But no, he's waiting for ICE, with a I don't know, this is an AR-15. I don't know much about rifles, but I think that is a nice rifle, not gonna lie. But are you going to use it? Are you going to use it? I remember the series Kung Fu. Remember the Kung Fu series? I remember one quote from that Kung Fu series: if you're bringing a gun to a fight, you better use it. But if you're bringing a gun to a confrontation with ICE, you are going to end up pretty much in trouble or in jail or dead. So that's the kind of thing that I tell you. Please exercise common sense. Be safe out there. That's why I tell you. Meal Team 6. That is, I am still in that CW. I am still in that. Meal Team 6. It's interesting that I found out the other day that it's called SEAL Team 6 because it's not that they have 6 of them, is that they named that way because they wanted to confuse, I don't know, the Russians or something like that, to pretend that they had more than one SEAL team, an elite SEAL team. That is clever. Right Angle News Network. Breaking: anti-ICE agitators led by failed CNN host Don Lemon, which we need to address about this. It's like Don Lemon says, you remember Don Lemon, right? We haven't spoken about Don Lemon in a while here in the show, but this failed broadcaster that now has, I think, a YouTube channel, and he was basically agitating, saying that this is the right of people to express themselves. This is free speech. This is the First Amendment, and no, this doesn't work like that. I mean, you are in fact going against the right of people to just be at mass. It's something that this guy is not understanding. I don't know if this is worthy of him being prosecuted by Pam Bondi, which I will address in a bit. But I don't know. I think this is, he says that the whole point is to disrupt and make people uncomfortable. But of course, you want to aim for Christians, right? You want to aim for Christians. You are looking, they claim that is the priest, who is the one who is an anti-ICE or something like that, an undercover anti-ICE officer or something.
This is the beginning of what's going to happen here. When you violate people's due process, when you pull people off the street, you start dragging them and hurting them and not abiding by the Constitution, when you start doing all of that.
How unhinged do you have to be to justify these actions? I don't know what level of unhinged, but that is we are in the attention economy, and being unhinged is as much unhinged as you can. I think this is good in the end. It's not good for the people who were at the church, but this is good for, let's say, people are on the fence of, they're still not sure if the Democrats are doing the right job, is doing the right thing, which I think that many people are fleeing the Democrat Party, are no longer labeling themselves as blue voters. And the idea, and this is very important, I want to talk to you, in the United States and everywhere in the world, it's important to vote. It's important to register and vote. That is the single most important action that you can take to take back your country, to take back your cities, your states. That is to say, not violence, not heckling, certainly not going with AR-15s for federal law enforcement, which you will absolutely get killed because of that. Please don't get killed. Be safe out there. But you have to register to vote. You have to register to vote. It's very important. And we saw images are heartbreaking because in the church at that moment, this poor child will be permanently scarred by the assault on the church service today by Don Lemon and his group of rioters. They all need to be perp walked tomorrow. This was a direct assault on the First Amendment and peaceful people worshiping God. And they did that on purpose. And we have to remember that these are a bunch of God-hating communists. Because, you remember, this is like the Bolshevik Revolution. The religion is the opium of the masses, as Karl Marx said. That's what they want. They hate all that. They don't abide by any of that. So that's why they attack religion, any kind of religion. MAGA voice, let's make this pastor famous. He exposed Don Lemon and leftist rioters for storming his church. This is unacceptable. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
To interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
So the pastor says this is a disruption of a mass service, and Don Lemon says that no, we are exerting our right to free speech. Again, how unhinged are you? That's why I'm glad, most of the time I'm glad that these people are being exposed, that they record themselves, that they speak in front of camera, so more and more people realize how unhinged, how out of touch, how insane, plain insane they are. This is not. I wish I had a more vocabulary. I've been studying a bit more English lately, so I don't repeat those words so much. But these people are that. I don't know that they are lacking they have a loose screw.
We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
And of course, people are pushing on Don Lemon, and the guy is a bit worried about that. Gina Milan says, so an elderly Christian woman gets thrown in jail under the Biden administration for praying outside an abortion clinic, but Don Lemon and his crew think they can storm a Christian church and berate people inside? Yeah, the double standard, the hypocrisy, and now Don Lemon has lemon tears. That was a very bad joke, but yeah, that's that it still applies. Don Lemon says he had no prior knowledge of the church invasion and was present only in his role as a journalist. That doesn't make sense. If you didn't know that the invasion was going to happen, then why were you at the church in the first place? You're lying, man.
MAGA administration and the fake news MAGAs are losing their mind over something that's not even true. So let me just make it clear, because this assistant attorney general, I don't know, gosh, what's her name? It's something Hammett, Gillen or whatever. So I had no affiliation to that organization. I didn't even know they were going to this church until we followed them there. We were there chronicling protests.
Oh, right. Yeah, you are absolutely you're absolutely innocent of everything. After Don Lemon was correctly called out for participating in the disruption at the church, he released this video to try to save face. He and the other disruptors who trespass at the church are in serious legal trouble. Let's see what he says.
This is an operation that is secret, that they invited folks out.
This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere. They don't expect us to come there, and then we disrupt business as usual.
Okay, so you know the usual suspects. Okay, what the fuck is what the? All right. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm reacting to this live. It shows, right? I try to keep this channel family friendly. When I stream on Facebook, that's gonna be a trouble. But I can't. But what is that? All right, I need to jump to the explanation. Who is this woman? It seems that the woman taking credit for helping to organize a group to disrupt church services in St. Paul is an attorney and former law professor. All right. Social justice activist Nekima Levy Armstrong, in a Facebook post, because of course he had to post on Facebook or Blue Sky or whatever, accused the pastor of City's Church of being an acting field director for an ICE office and expressed gratitude to the activists who joined her in storming the church this morning. All right, so she was the one behind all this. I'm not surprised. This is a communist revolution, as Insurrection Barbie says. That's why they are walking into church to make people uncomfortable. Again, this is a communist revolution. It's not about ICE. It never was. Because what are you defending? Are you defending the illegals? By the way, there's a very funny thing that I saw, that some ICE officers went to a Mexican restaurant. They had, very delicious tacos, and after they had their food served, hours later, they apprehended the dudes who had served them. So I guess that they realized that they were illegals because the tacos were very good. I found that. I don't have a screenshot of that, but that is basically what happened. Natalie Jan Beisner, it was a BLM racial justice group that stormed a Christian church in Minnesota today and harassed Christians trying to worship. They chanted Renee Good's name and also hands up, don't shoot. They're still trying to do this. They're still pushing for this. I mean, they have absolutely no other resource they have. I think attacking Christians at church is the turning point in a civil war that has been brewing since the sexual deviance of the left went insane with Trump's victory, seems the always awesome and based James Woods. That embittered bitch, Don Lemon, stirred the shit this time. It's not surprising. He's not new at it after all. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that is what protesting is for, is to make people uncomfortable. Yeah, the problem is that you are making everyone uncomfortable, including kids that have nothing to do with that, but they don't respect that in the least. A.J. Dillon tells me that Trump administration is using the FACE Act, previously used almost exclusively by Dems to prosecute pro-lifers, to go after agitators who impede worship, like the ones we saw in Minnesota. Let's see if that works. We also have, I think there was, had something about Pam Bondi here as well. I think I skipped that, but people are saying that, oh yeah, there's Pam Bondi here. I just spoke to the pastor in Minnesota whose church was targeted. Is Pam Bondi going to do something? What do you think? Is Pam Bondi going to do something? People are saying, I saw a theory on Twitter today in which someone was saying maybe they are not going as hard on Democrats and liberals and all this, the actual, they're pulling their punches up until the midterms, so the Democrats don't see this as lawfare against them. But I found that asinine because if you begin using the big guns after the midterms, wouldn't that be the same towards 2028? I don't know. I don't understand how that works, but I think that if you have 4 years to do the things that you need to do, you have to use the full 4 years. And as for Pam Bondi, it has been a disappointment. You know that I have a couple channels, and in my Power Pundit channel, I made a video about Pam Bondi and Susie Wiles. It was very popular, by the way. Well, I guess she says, if state leaders refuse to act responsibly to prevent lawlessness, this Department of Justice, if state leaders refuse to act responsibly, will remain mobilized to prosecute federal crimes and ensure that the rule of law prevails. So I guess that she's going to stand this out. Stand this out, right? That is expression. You understand what I'm trying to say. I want Don Lemon dragged out, says Matt Walsh, dragged out of his house by a SWAT team at gunpoint. That's what Biden did to pro-lifers. Time to make these scumbags play by the same rules. Force feed them a dose of their own medicine for once. And Joshua Lysak, the ghostwriter, says, just, and the Misfit Patriot, I agree. And I'm sure that you agree as well, because this is horrible. What they are doing, what they're trying to do, they are instigating people. This is instigation. They want trouble. They want blood to be spilled, then they will be able to claim victimhood. That was exactly what Renee Good was doing out there. And, well, it was tragic because she found out the worst way that she had been brainwashed. And many of these people are brainwashed in the sense that they have nothing better to do with their lives than to go and try to get shot in the face. That's reality. That is a sad reality. How sad can be your life to just give it for people, for illegals who don't know who you are, who couldn't care about you, and some of them will scam and rape and do unthinkable things to you if they had the chance. I don't know, but this is how unhinged these people are. Make sure to leave your comment in the replies, and I'm keeping an eye on your on the